Sure, copy at the stores now. Do they have them at Barnes & Noble over there?
Oh, yeah, we got plenty.
Okay, they got them at Barnes & Noble, Lucas says, and American Sniper. And in the movie, you'll see there's a portion that we did the reading from his book about, and it's when one of his Navy SEALs comrades was killed, and his name was Mark Lee. And Mark Lee was written about not only in Chris Kyle's book, but he was also written about in Duncan Hunter's book, Victory in Iraq. And that book came out much before Chris Kyle's book. So the impact of this man's life was profound. In Mark Lee's case, the impact went beyond Mark Lee because his mother, Debbie Lee, picked up the mantle and made speeches all over the place and carried the banner for the effort for the war in Iraq. Now, the man was killed in Ramadi, and of course Ramadi just fell because of our dancing queen president. And I'm going to bring this all together here, believe me. But the tragedy, of course, is not just did the man lose his life, but in the end, his mother lost the argument. Because her argument was basically, look, Saddam Hussein was a really bad guy doing really bad things. He was burying women and children alive, gassing others, burying them. As she put it, he was a weapon of mass destruction himself.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Not even debatable.
No. And by the way, Bob Woodward finally admitted, what 12 years too late, that he did a bunch of research and found out, no, Bush didn't lie. They may have made a mistake, but they actually thought the weapons of mass destruction were there. And in fact...
Everybody did.
And in fact, they've been found there.
And, and then the other fact is, let's say they were going to get there as fast as he could get them anyway. And this was the type of guy, just like North Korea today, and, you look at our good friends in Iran, and China, believe me, they're going to use these things. They're not developing them for nothing.
Right. And Woodward also pointed out, too, Chris, that the situation in Iraq is because of Barack Obama's inability to handle this left an effective force in there.
Right, for not leaving 10 to 15,000 troops in there, which is what the military wanted, which is what Colonel Danny McKnight said would have been sufficient to keep the lid on things in there. And more importantly, we had a really good toehold in all the communities now because of the people that we had been working with to develop this goodwill for intelligence. So we would have known well ahead of time when things were going sour and where they were going sour and who was souring the milk. And we would have went there and we would have killed the SOBs, which is what should have been done. Okay? But because we got the dancing queen, we came home. And by the way, Charles Krauthammer wrote a great article. It came out well, it comes out a few days later, but it was in the Orlando Sentinel Sunday, when he quotes the president that we didn't leave Iraq because it was in such dire straits. We left Iraq because the situation was so good there. It was so good. And as Lair pointed out, like Woodward said, it's been destroyed now because we got a dancing queen for a president. Well, we're not the only ones who basically call him the dancing queen. They may use different words, but they see him the same way. Yeah. Over the weekend, actually I believe it was the end of last week, the new Secretary of Defense, Ashton Carter, basically said what we had said on the American Adversaries a week ago, and that is when the Islamic State made the final assault in Ramadi, the Iraqis threw their guns down and ran, even though the Iraqis outnumbered them not only in troops, but in the capability of the weapons that they had. They just threw them down and took off. And then, as a response to that, and we've talked about this man on the show before, and I said, remember this man's name. It's going to come up again and again. His name's Soleimani. General Soleimani is the head of the Quds force, which is Iranian, in Iraq. And he's known over there as General Supermani. Now, we get the dancing queen. Jordan gets the warrior king, and Iran gets General Supermani. And General Supermani said, well, where in the hell was the U.S.? Where were these bombing strikes? Where was all this support we were supposed to get? Well, the dancing queen was off dancing around somewhere on a golf course or something.
I heard today that in Kosovo, the bombing campaign, there was 700 sorties a day. Today, over there, 20.
And
wow.
And
do we use modern planes, or are we using double wings?
Well, turboprop.
Yeah, that
controlled.
And there's a bigger difference too. Of those 700 sorties, 95% or more of them actually use their weapons. In other words, drop bombs on target.
Rather than just fly over.
Of those 20 sorties you're talking about that they're using today, the vast majority of them come back with their weapons still tucked up underneath their wings.
The other thing, Chris, though, to bless our soldiers is, can you imagine having to listen to these people in the White House while you're fighting a war, and they direct you what to do? I mean, they don't even know how to walk out the front door.
It's a testament to the professionalism of our military force
and their tolerance.
That they don't just get totally demoralized and throw up their hands and say, "The hell with this."
I think they're getting
I think we're getting all. I love it when he came out the other day, Carter, and made those statements. This is what we like to see. Let's say I call a little internal rebellion, in the sense we've had it, buddy. You're a loser. We know it. You're leaving. Goodbye.
Yeah. Not only do we know it, but the worst part is the
problem is the enemy knows it. That's really serious.
That's right.
Real bad problem.
That's right.
They know what's in Hillary's emails too. So
yeah. But there is a solution to this. There is a solution to this, and an Air Force general made a warning that we'll get to after the break. But in that warning, I believe, is the solution. So stick around. And by the way, James Madison employed this solution 200 years ago to great effectiveness. So please stick with us. We'll be right back.